friends. It's me, Dale. Welcome back to the table where we do tarot. Now, I was doing some tarot readings a few days ago. Oh, it was on Friday. And I had done, I thought I was going to read from all of the decks because it was dark out and I felt like we should be reading from the dark deck. But I only did the gold foil tarot and the crow tarot. So we're finally, now that it's light out, we're going to move back to where we started. So let me do a little sage and get this going. I feel so tired, but like not tired enough to fall asleep. Isn't that annoying when you feel like you need a nap, but you can't fall asleep? So you just got to figure out other things to do. So that's how I'm feeling today. How are you feeling today? All right. Hey, we got some sage going. All right. Let me drop this down just a little. Okay. So we've got the horror tarot. Okay. Let's see what's at the bottom because I like to see where it comes out. The Five of Cups. Now, this is interesting. If I had done this reading on Friday, this would have been the third Five of Cups that showed up at the bottom of the deck. Okay. So some people are really having a hard time with loss. And we've got the Two of Swords at the cut, and they're like not able to figure out how to move forward because they were locked into your energy and they thought that they were being more positive um in the relationship that you were in together, but it's not, it's like that you were the positive aspect that was changing in them, but they thought that they were doing it themselves. And so now they're realizing that like that there's an old world now. There's been a shift that's been going on that now we have fractured off. Oops, stop. We have fractured off into like two separate worlds from the one in which people were taking from us. That is a huge stack of cards. So, okay. I don't know if it's like humidity in the air or what. Everything is all three. Okay. Everything's kind of stickier than normal. Okay. Okay, we've got the Eight of Swords, which is a self-imposed prison of thoughts. So this is, I don't think this is you, but let's see. There's a couple of cuts here, like that I'm seeing naturally. There's the star. I think this is more you that you're getting what you want. What is it pointing at? It's pointing to the letter K. So I don't know if that has any significance to you, but all right. The Fool, Page of Wands. Let me pause it. I just wanted to show that at the bottom of the deck was the Two of Swords again. So I will pause it and wait for that train to go by. Okay. So let me just show you. I've got like the pile here, a pile here. And that's just kind of how they came out in like clumps together. So I think that this is sort of like what's it's a transition phase. So let's actually see what the cards say. All right. So these three are the Seven of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and the Ten of Wands. All right. So let me look and see what's going on here. It's really okay. The Ten of Wands is like a burden that's too heavy to carry, so you can't carry it anymore because you took on all these burdens that like were not yours. Um, there's nobody at this table here. It's symbolized by candles, and like that's because wands are a fire element. But there's only a scroll left, and it looks like there is a cup filled with blood. And then there is the Page of Cups. Okay, so the Page of Cups might be what's going on here. And then the Seven of Pentacles, it's normally waiting for something. It's like waiting for a garden to grow, but here it's it's symbolized by headstones. All right. And so it's like there's something of like endings and what seems like death, but it's almost like the Page of Cups made it happen. So let's just see. Let's just see what's going on. I want to see what's on the other side of it. So we've got the Magician, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands. So the Magician is like working in his own laboratory by himself. He's almost like the scientific version of the Hermit, where he's looking for something, right? The Hermit is on this like physical path to figure out what he's missing or just to find his way. You don't know why a hermit goes out on their own path, but they know that they're on a path of enlightenment somehow. They're seeking for something. And that's what the magician is. It's almost like the hermit is the physical way of doing something, like going and walking a path alone only by the light of a lantern. And so it takes a long time. But the magician, he's almost like the alchemist who is trying to figure out how to get there quickly, but he has to do it alone because other people will get in the way and be like, that's not going to work. Well, when a scientist discovers a new thing, it's everybody else thinks it doesn't work. Why do we still have scientists working today if we already like know everything and if everything were working as it's supposed to be? So anyway, it's like by doing this, they're by going alone and like doing the alchemical processes that um turn lead into gold, like in alchemy, then brings you personal abundance. But there's like battles going on about it. It's like that they don't think it's a good idea, right? Like the traditional scientists are like, no, it's not going to work. So what's going on in between this? We've got the Queen of Pentacles, the World, the Five of Swords, the Ace of Swords, the Two of Wands, and the King of Cups. So we've got the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups. All right. Queen of Pentacles. No, I'm sorry. King of Cups, Queen of Pentacles. And it's like that's seems to be what's going on. It's almost like this divine union that is coming to create a new world. All right. But we've got the Five of Swords where like there's something that was going on before this where somebody was split on like focusing on their heartache and carrying it around with them like as this burden, whereas if you think about this crow trying to have carried five swords, it didn't, right? It dropped two of them. So it dropped. There's somebody who decided to step out of indecision because that's what the two of swords means. But then there's somebody who decided to like dwell on the heartache. And that ensures that you move nowhere quickly, right? But there's an ace of swords. And that's what happens when you let go of trying to make decisions for yourself. And there's a two of wands, which it's like the creation of a new world based on um, passion, possibly partnership, but it's more of like a partnership on with what you care about inside of yourself. Okay. And then that is what creates this like magnetism with the King of Cups. All right. So it seems like there is just, you have to start over again. You have to start over again with this Page of Cups in order to get to the King of Cups. And that had to happen with some like just waiting on time for things to grow or die properly, which it's more when it shows these tombstones, it's more like something had to starve itself out and die because it was too much of a burden that you couldn't carry anymore. And you're like, no, I can't do it. I would rather play with the jack in the box here. Okay. Because I want to be in my childish energy. I'm sick of working so hard for something that I can't carry the burden of it anymore. So it has to take time to die. All right. And this is when you go into the laboratory and you start trying to figure out what wasn't working. I don't know, but I have to do it on my own because I need to bring in some of the abundance for myself, which is what the Nine of Wands or the Nine of Pentacles is. It's like I know no matter what people say or do, or if they conflict with what I'm doing, I have to invest in myself. Okay. And then that was what brought this like union of the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups. Okay. All right. And then there was all this stuff in between that that's the story of how they came together. Okay. So let me move this stuff off to the side. Yeah, it was like you remember this was at the bottom of the deck. Oh, and then I always forget like that there's going to be something cool underneath it. But there was this indecision. The indecision was dropped. All right. Sorry. I am tired, so it's making my brain work slowly. So I'm like, "Ugh, this is hard to do." It's not really hard to do. It's just that I'm trying too hard with my brain and I don't need to. Okay. So this was here, but this was dropped. And then you were given the where is it? The Ace of Swords right here. Okay. So it was like, don't don't worry about it because the right one came out. And then again, it was like this Two of Pentacles cards. It's two different people, if you want to call them people hands, coming together to build more abundance instead of like trying to do it alone, trying to juggle too many things on your own alone. It's like two people coming together. And then what is this? The Knight of Wands. And the Five of Cups is there again. Okay. But then there's an Ace of Cups. So the Knight of Wands is like the creative passion coming towards you on a horse normally in traditional tarot. But this is like it's a mummy and it's coming back to life in the light of the moon. So again, it harkens to the concept of like going alone, to work in the laboratory. And the Hermit, this almost looks like it would be a hermit card because the hermit travels in the dark with just a lantern light. So, and then there was the Five of Cups, and that is like the other person where they are diverging because they're focused on like the sadness and stuff like that. But then you are getting your Ace of Cups, which was the Page of Cups right here, right? It's like you know that you didn't want things going the way that they were. You wanted to just be free like a child and still have emotional fulfillment. And that's what's happening. It's like because you broke away and did all those things and you went inside to look for what the answers are for what makes you happy, then you were given the cup by God. All right, hang on a second. Okay, so I'm moving on to the Sacred Rebels Oracle. Let's see what's at the bottom. Come to life. And this might be from the last time I had done a reading because I know that that was one of the cards that had come up in the reading. So yeah, it's time to come to life, but you have to paint the color onto yourself, which is what she's doing. Okay. You have to come to life in the way that you know what brings you to life. You can't wait for somebody else to tell you what to do, or just because you're like trying to honor a relationship. If you have a very temperamental partner who doesn't stay happy for a very long period of time, like all the effort that you're putting in is to make those relationships peaceful, but you never can. You never can. So, okay, come on. So you have to make the relationship peaceful within you. Relax and be hold of darkness and be at cause. Relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. Let me read that one because that one's come up multiple times, but I don't think I've ever looked at the meaning of it. Let's see. 26, page 110. It was right near it. I just didn't know. Relax the hold of darkness and be at cause. Dear sacred rebel, this moment in your life requires great courage. Fortunately, you possess that in bucket loads. You're being asked to allow yourself to be lifted out of one level of known reality and into the next level of higher voltage reality. Higher voltage reality requires a more absolute trust and a heart that is surrendered into the greater heart of the universe so that life can happen to us, through us, and with us more quickly, more radically, more beautifully, and more boldly. You are now being invited into this new reality where things happen quickly and according to bold, loving optimism. This is a reality, not only of potential, but of manifestation of the great, big, cosmic yes. To access this reality, you have to leap from known waters, and others may think you are crazy for doing so. You have to leave behind the dark, weighty grip of hesitation, procrastination, second guessing, and the belief you have to do everything on your own. You may fear for your life. How will you be safe in the wild electric pulse of so much aliveness? How will you function without the hazy, sleep inducing paralysis of playing it safe, taking too long and placing lesser priorities above your sacred art of life? How will you hold yourself back if you don't hold on to fear? You do not need to worry about such things. Life is wild, but it is also wise. It is a force of startling, raw awakening at times, but it is also the natural process of evolution, where all things mature according to a seasonal cycle in right timing. You are a part of, not apart from. So a part of, not apart from that process. The invitation to shift gears and jump on board the express train of life will feel exhilarating and perhaps also challenging. When you are in the hold of the darkness, you will feel pushed to turn away, to imagine it is all too much, and to create excuses about how your desires aren't grounded enough, that you are being too flighty or flaky, or that you are not living in the real world. That is fear talking, not truth. If the sacred rebel is not awakened, we will continue to live in a culture drenched in fear and distrust of nature. Those without awakened hearts don't yet understand what nature knows. She knows timing, she knows life and death, she knows the creative process. She just knows and can be trusted to support us, her own creations, and becoming all that we can become. Does this mean that we become passive and just flow along like a limp leaf detached from the tree and blown about randomly by the breeze? No. Being free of the dark being free of the dark hold empowers us to take up our cause. This means being free to act and affirm the intuitive feelings we have by following up on them. This is painting like someone who has lost their mind, completely free and from the heart. It means writing, even though you have no conscious idea of what you're writing. Even as the words are streaming forth upon the page, your rather curious eyes, or I'm sorry, upon the page before your rather curious eyes. And it means speaking about your work, never hiding it away, allowing it to breathe the fresh air and be held in the gaze of another. Detached from the darkness that would say it is not enough or must be the best thing ever, whatever that means, in order to be worthy of a place in the world. Instead, just let it be what it is. It might fly, it might endure, and it might not. All of nature, including you and your passions and dreams, will be what is needed when it is needed and how it is needed according to your wisdom. We just have to trust in this within ourselves and within nature herself through the flow of life and participate. You are asked to go within and imagine diving deep off the edge of what you have known. There is so much more calling to you now. It's your time. Leap. Healing process. Say, I accept the offer of life so that I may truly live. Through unconditional love, I now invite and receive all assistance, intervention, protection, and inspiration so that I may leap into my next cycle of life. Held in the long, loving grace of wisdom, so be it. You may now take you may now like to take an actual jump for joy to finish your healing process. Right? Maybe they all have messages like that, but I don't know. That one seemed like really relevant to what we were just talking about. What's at the bottom? What do you feel? Right? There's the world again. Do you feel like an orange or an apple? Do you see them on there? All right. So I'm not going to read that one. I really enjoy that these have long definitions or like long um explanations, I guess. I don't know what to call it. Um, but that makes it so that I really only have to read into one, and we get a really beautiful meaning by just reading into that one. Because we saw all kinds of, you hear that emergency vehicle? We get repetitive words with things that I already said from a different deck, but also from like I didn't know that that card was going to come up. Are these all okay? They look like they were turned the wrong way. So we're just going to go with this Larcana trading card game, and just because all that stuff, it feels so heavy. Today feels heavy. It's like a little bit humid. It's like I just feel tired. It's a Monday. I don't know. I don't like feeling this way. You know what I mean? It's like we want to know the chemistry of our own system so that we can adapt. So that when we feel like garbage, we know what to do with it, right? It's like if I even tried to take a nap earlier and I just wasn't, whoa, I just I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. So what I did was I was just like slowly moving things into place for other things that I wanted to do because that is my biggest recommendation for you is to always set up your next thing that you want to do before like taking a break from whatever you were doing. If you feel like you want to take a break, just before you take that break, just set yourself up for the next thing. You can even try to move into the next thing, which I did. I was just trying to move into like painting, but I just wasn't feeling it. Now, for the fact that it said like like um paint like you don't know what you're painting or whatever it said in that thing, that just gives me the advice to go in and do what I was doing instead of like thinking about it so much. Just paint whatever comes out. Okay. At the bottom here we have Gyro Gear Loose. He's a gadget whiz, story-born ally inventor. Um, and his quote is, "Maybe the bulb tech will be less evil this time." So I don't know what that means, but all right. Do you have things that you need to get done, but then like in order to talk to the gatekeeper of that thing, they're like a real pain in the butt. So it's like not fun. All right, Della Duck, Unstoppable Mom. Um, Storyborn Ally, Reckless. I survived the moon. How tough could the flooded Inklands be? Dragonfire, Action. Rare is the hero who can withstand a dragon's worth. Wrath. Sorry. Jeez. Okay. She survived the moon. All right. Minnie Mouse, always classy. Her fashion sense is always on spot. Always spot on. I always think it's like I read the same things wrong like every single time. Olympus. Olympus would be that way. Um, Now that I set you free, what is the first thing you're going to do? Hades. So it's like Hades' hand is coming out right here, and this thing that doesn't look very smart is like headed in the wrong direction. So Hades is trying to redirect him to go that way. Okay. All right. Peter Pan, Neverland hero. With Peter, plans often meant diving headlong into danger, and they just said like jump off the cliff. Okay. Hey, hey, mindless wandering, considering the coconut. Maui, soaring demigod. You got any more of those chickens hanging around? Right here's hey, hey, right here. So there it is. Magica, dispel, the Midas touch. Interesting. Floodborn, villain, sorcerer. I can feel my powers growing the closer I get to Scrooge's precious dime. Then we have Maui again. Okay. Um, so it just seems like this big story of honestly, it reminds me of like my story of like where I'm a single mom and I've gone to war and I've like been through a flood. You know, we were literally pushing our children through floodwaters and it was like up to here. We were trying to push them out on kayaks. So it's like the dragon's fire. It's almost like um I don't know if I'm scared of moving forward presently. It's like all I have to do is remember all the things that I did in the past. And it's like, and I try to do it while being classy and having some style about me. Olympus would be that way. I used to live in Olympia or near Olympia. But it's like Hades saying, look, I let you out of the underworld. Now go and live your life. Don't be contained by your own fears. That's so silly. Jump off the cliff and be forever young. You know, that's what I've always been anyway. It was like I didn't get along with kids when I was young because I just felt like there was a lot of time being wasted when we were kids. And though I like to be young and playful, I want to do things that make me feel like I'm having fun. But as a kid, the things that were fun to me was like cooking and gardening and stuff like that. So what have I been doing? Cooking and gardening still. You know, these are things that I never let go of. But oftentimes because they're important to me and they take up a lot of time, but ultimately don't really do um great things for the rest of the world. I'll like get things started and then never complete them. But I went and I bought my gardening stuff yesterday, like the things that I wanted to put in the ground this year. And I actually freaking planted it like all in one day. I promised myself I wouldn't get more than what I could do in one day. And that's what I did, except I have some rose bushes that I need to like get in the ground, but I'm not totally sure where I want to put them. Um, all right. And then it's like we have two Mauis and the one chicken who is like so silly, he wouldn't even know if Maui were looking for him anyway, because he's stuck in the coconut with, you know, it's like putting your head in the sand. Well, this chicken is on water, but his head is in the coconut. And then we have this, it's almost like there's always this evil lurking, right? That has been preventing you from doing what you're supposed. Oh, she's got this beautiful rose. I can feel my powers growing the closer I get to Scrooge's precious dime. And that's what'll happen. Like other people will be drawn to you because they understand the abundance of who you are. And so they will take your power because they are drawn to it and they know how to consume it. So those days are over. All right. Those days are over. Hades released you. It's time to put your energy into what you care about because you've been through enough stuff before. And you can like always present yourself like Minnie Mouse, like classy, and nobody really knows the depth of what's going on inside of you because everything is nothing more than our emotions, you know? That's how it is. So you don't have to look like your emotions, right? That's I guess what how people would determine if you're a psychopath or not, if you like do something, but if you let's say that you were to end someone's life, okay, but you did it like with a smile on your face or something, that that expression that you're showing is nothing like the action that you just did. And when it's that far out of alignment, people are going to say, like, you are really crazy and you should be locked up away from society. And perhaps a situation like that, it's true. But when you're going through difficult times in your own life, but you always present in a way that seems like everything is cool, everything is okay, it's like you already have the self control activated so that when you do receive abundance, you don't really have to change. You don't change at all because you've always been just the calm, stable, collected version of yourself because you realize that it's nothing more than a choice. It's like, yeah, this hurts me right now, but I don't have to show pain on my face. All right. I'm going to leave it off with that. I love you. Have a great day. Bye.